good. You're good. Announcements. Ashley, do you have announcements? In like 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Yeah. Do you want to come up here?
But it's not because I don't want to.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started with a few announcements, right? This is our last meeting, right? This is our last general meeting before elections. This is crazy. A year flew by. Or, I guess a semester or something. But yeah. So next week is elections, next Wednesday. Remember that you all have to be here for elections. Otherwise, I will not consider you for active membership. I don't care if you've completed everything, okay? You can be like our top member of the year, and I will not consider you for active membership if you're not here for elections. So, and yeah, this is me being nice. So, don't make that side of me come out. Okay? Yeah. Okay. So that's next Wednesday from 5 to 6. Yeah, be here on time. Be respectful to everyone that's giving a speech, stuff like that. What else? Our fundraiser is this Saturday. Okay. Basically, it's like we throw a bunch of money into this party. Okay, it's an epic party that we throw after Springfest. Right? It's after Springfest this year. Right? So bring all your friends. Come out. It's for Operation Smile. Right? So we're raising money for Operation Smile. $5 to get in and have a good time. And yeah, all the money goes towards Operation Smile. So you guys should all come out. Bring your friends. Okay?
It's gonna be a really big party.
Yeah, it's huge.
The Dell House is really it's set up pretty awesome, and they're gonna have a bacon wrapped hot dog guy. So.
Oh yeah. At midnight we have a guy coming who's making bacon wrapped hot dogs. So for all you Jews, all of us Jews, it's good, right? No, I asked him to make my own bacon wrapped hot dogs. So, kosher is good.
I was gonna start the kosher.
Yeah. Okay, so what else? Any other announcements? Yes. So we have elections next week, and then the following Thursday after that. So 2 weeks from tomorrow is our end of the year banquet. Okay. It's just wow. Why do you look so scared right now? Are you okay? You good? Oh, sick. Okay, got it. Okay. It's not that scary. I promise. Okay, so we have our end of the year banquet 2 weeks from tomorrow. Okay. Basically, it's just a nice dinner with this informal ceremony where you guys will be receiving certificates for your accomplishments this year. We'll also be announcing Member of the Year there, so that's fun. And we just take a bunch of pictures. This year it's Fiesta themed, so we'll have sombreros and mustaches and a nice little backdrop for all you guys to Instagram your pictures and whatever. And yeah, admissions will be there, so you guys can it's like a nice chance to talk to them a little bit informally, right? Get some drinks or something, or lemonade with some admissions. Yeah. So that's good. So you guys should all be there. It is semi-formal attire, right? Because it's a nice dinner ceremony kind of thing. And there's only 50 spots, I believe. So as soon as you guys hear about the sign up, right? As soon as that goes out. Do you guys have any questions about anything that I just went over? What's up?
The invitation is going to go out on Monday.
Invitations go out on Monday. Wait, so invitations, is the invitation the sign up?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
so
the
on
RSVP.
Sunday, you'll be receiving a reminder
reminder,
that
yeah.
the invite is going out Monday night, okay? And sign up Monday night.
You guys should sign up. It's a lot of fun, and it's a really nice dinner.
Yeah.
You're not really gonna get to go to the University Club very often
Yeah.
because it's mostly just faculty.
It's at University Club here on campus from 6, what time is it from? 6 to 9, 6 to 8? Yeah, 6 to 8, 6 to 8:30, and we all usually hang out afterwards and probably gonna go to Nick's house or something if he says yes. I didn't ask him, I'm just assuming he's gonna say yes, okay? So yeah, it's a great time, and that's it, that's DDS for the year. There's no more stuff after that, so yeah, that's it. Ashley, you have announcements?
Yeah, so with that said, since there's no DDS stuff anymore afterwards, I've decided actually we're not going to have SSC. I know there was 2 dates after that, but I'm just not going to send those emails out to sign up for that. So the last SSC will be April 10th, so a week before our DDS banquet. And there is that towards the end of May event at the Melbourne High School. I'm going to see how much interest we have, and then we'll do it. If not, then we're just not going to do it, which is fine. I mean, we've done already so many great stuff with SSC, and I'm proud of all you guys. So yeah,
Cool. All right. Do you guys have any questions before we get started? Anything? You good? Yeah. Explained everything well. Okay. Also, all of you should click, even if you're not attending because of Passover or whatever reason, you should all click attending on the Facebook event. right? Numbers are good. Higher numbers. Yeah, all back by numbers. Okay, so without further ado, I'd like to introduce Randy. Many of you remember him from the beginning of the year when he talked about
Interview.
attire, right? Attire for
Yeah, sorry.
Interview.
See, clearly I've been taking his advice. So, you know.
Likewise.
All right, give a round of applause.
All right, can everybody hear me? I have the mic on because I'm kind of losing my voice. So we put together a personal statement slideshow for you guys. It's a very different way of presenting the information. I'm used to really being one-on-one with each of the students. So the way I went about this was if I was meeting with an imaginary student, how would the conversation go? So some of the slides are super detailed. I'm not going to be able to read my notes because of technical difficulties, so I'm going to try to remember as much as I can from context clues. But if you guys have questions, should we wait till the end, or do you want me to do questions if they come up?
However you feel is best.
We can address it on the spot.
Okay.
I like to make sure we get things taken care of before we move on. So, as Mike stated, my name is Randy. I am one of the pre-health advisors. Hopefully you guys remember me from the beginning of the year. I know I've seen a lot of you guys in the office, so thank you for coming in and helping out, and hopefully we can do some more events with you guys next year for the pre-dental students. Let's see here, let's get started. So the purpose of the personal statement. I think there's always a lot of misunderstanding of what to talk about in the personal statement. I've had a lot of people come in and say, well, I gotta have a real sappy story. I gotta really pull the reader in. And that's not necessarily the case. I mean, if you have one, okay, well, we can probably talk about it, maybe use it, but that can't be your whole basis of a statement. But the statement is all about you laying out this whole path of who you are and how you came to pre-dentistry. I apologize also in advance, because I'm also giving this talk. I've been practicing for pre-med for a talk I'm doing on Saturday. So I'm going to be interchanging dentistry, pharmacy, and medicine. But I'm going to do my best to just say health professionals. So bear with me on that. It's about connecting the dots. Why are you guys, why do you want to be a dentist? Why do you want to go to dental school? How and what have you done up to this point has led you to this decision and brought you to this point of understanding your readiness for dentistry. So, the other thing is to let your personality shine through. This isn't an elongated resume. I don't want to see just, I did this, I participated in this, I was in DDS, I was the president for 4 years. I want to know more about why were you doing these things, right? What was the purpose behind it? What inspired you to want to do it? When you hit the wall, when you had a tough time, what kept you there? Why did you follow through? And the most important thing is to answer the why, right? Why do I? Sorry, I meant to update this one. Why do I want to be a dentist? It says doctor. Why are these experiences significant to you in your journey as pre-dentistry, and why do you feel ready to apply? Anything that you bring into the personal statement, if you want to talk about your first experience with a physician, or the first career you had with the dentist, or a volunteering experience, or dental brigades, why is it significant enough for you to bring up? You got to always answer that question. The next biggest question I get is, where do you start? Right? How many of you guys are first years, second years, third years, and too late for everybody else, right? No, I'm kidding. You want to start as early as possible. I've had students do this technique, 3 months before they're getting ready to write the personal statement. My best suggestion, and I always tell students in orientation, so if you saw me at your orientation section in the last 5 years, I always say, you got to keep a journal, you got to keep some type of diary or some type of account of everything that you've been a part of, right? And it's not just, oh, I was, in Trojan Health Volunteers, or I did, dental brigades. I don't care about, what it is that you did exactly. I want to know what the significance of each of these experiences were. So if you had a moment one day where you were challenged and you didn't know if you want to continue with this organization, but something about, your determination or something about your resilience kept you coming back. What was that defining moment? What motivated that? I want to know these driving factors, and it's easier to kind of address it as they come along than to sit back, 3 months before your application is due, and start thinking, okay, well, what did I do my freshman year? Did I do anything really? Because you always start to forget everything as years go by, as far as memory goes. Everything gets kind of mushed together. So it's good to have a working list of activities, experiences, even particular classes that may have been impactful to you. Another is, the internet is great. I didn't have Google when I was in undergrad and I was writing personal statements out of high school. It's an amazing tool. But at a certain point, you do so much research where you get to a point where it's like everything's kind of redundant. They're saying the same thing. And for me, I think that's a great indicator that you have enough information to start writing. Right? When it becomes redundant, it's like, okay, let's end the search, let's get the key things out of everything that you've found, and let's start framing this statement. Let's see here. And then going back to the list of activities of your resume, the reflections. I think the reflections are the key thing because it might be one of those reflections that either turns into one of your memorable experiences, it turns into a major part of your personal statement, or it turns into a talking point in your interview. It all depends on how you work your application. The next part is to start thinking about what you want to say and why. How do you want to be perceived? How do you want them to see you? Is it that you are this accomplished young adult that has been part of amazing experiences, or is it that someone that is, maybe started off very broad, unsure what they wanted, and then they found purpose doing, DDS, and they found this home and this community, and they found a lot of great opportunities. What is it about what you've done that you want to showcase, right? What facet of your personality are you trying to show, or do you want to highlight? A couple other questions or other suggestions I've seen other people use is getting deeper into, your influences, your mentors, who's been influential in your life, why, how has your family impacted you. You can do that, and it's helpful if you're struggling to find something to write, but really, I want to know about you. And if it started with, you're a third-generation dentist, then you're a third-generation pre-dental student. That's fine. We can start there. I had a student last semester who, I'm sure you know him, his father, his grandfather, his uncle were all dentists, and he didn't want to become a dentist, and next thing you know, he's going to UOP, I think, this upcoming fall. It happens, and that was part of his story. That was part of his narrative. He found his reasoning for wanting to do it, and that's what he wanted to showcase. All right. So if any of you have had a personal statement reviewed by me, I can be kind of brutal sometimes, but it's, for the best. It's to make you guys better, make you guys challenge what you're thinking. But this is usually how I break it down in the email. It'll start with, the key points, right? First and foremost is how many characters you have. I think dental is either 4,500 or 4,700. I cannot remember off the top of my head. So having to cut the fluff. You guys have a limited space. Okay, cool. You guys have limited space to be able to make things very poetic, or wrong light, but.
We don't have a live master position. I wish we did. There we go.
Nope.
Alright. Alright.
There you go. I got it.
Oh, you got it?
I got it.
Okay, you got it.
We'll just rock in the dark. It's cool.
Okay, sure.
You guys are okay with that, right? You guys gonna see it a lot better, I assume. Where did I leave off? So, you guys, especially, I read somewhere that they're thinking about changing or adding characters to the pre-dental or the access personal statement or personal remarks section. I don't know how true it is. I know they're changing the DAT. I'm getting off topic. I'm sorry. So anyway, so knowing what the character limit is, that's one thing you have to live within. Two is the use of I. I don't want to see any I's in your personal statement. Yes, it's about you, but this is not I did this. This isn't braggadocious. This isn't listing off all the things you did. This is you did something, but why is it meaningful? Why is it important? I want you to come from a position of me, my inspiration or my influence or motivated me. It changes the way it's perceived. It changes the meaning for you when you say it. You can be saying, I was the president of DDS. That's one thing. Okay, great. Well, what did you do? So, while president, my, X, Y, and Z, I helped build and manage and grow from the little room down the hall to this bigger lecture hall. It just depends on what you're trying to say, making it more meaningful. So show not tell. I didn't even talk about my list yet. I'm sorry. So show not tell. That's something I picked up when I was in 8th grade because I always got in trouble for writing things, but I didn't describe it like I was saying. So you want to, don't tell me that you were the president. Don't tell me that you were part of DDS. Don't tell me that you shouted at Dennis. Show me how it's relevant to your experience. Show me why it's important. Show me why I should know this about you. All right? Show your motivation for a career as a healthcare provider. The next thing in the statement, now this isn't, particular keywords that you want to touch on, but it's the theme, right? Addressing the motivation for wanting to pursue this path. Why do you want to be a dentist, essentially, right? We can talk about the influence of extracurricular work, volunteer activities, so like leadership, meaningful experiences, shadowing, volunteering, all that good stuff. The influence of your family or early experiences in your life, how it's shaped you, how it brought you, to SC, how it's continued you past SC and into postgraduate work. And then my favorite final thought would be the assessment of your preparedness and readiness for entering medical school, dental school, whatever health professional school you want to go into. And that's the toughest one, because you really have to take an honest look at yourself and say, what have I really done that's going to prepare me for the next level? How do I know this is the right path for me? What have I shown, or what defining moment has occurred for me to really, bring it home to show, like, there's nothing else for me. And even if I don't go into dental school, I'm going to continue doing these things that I've been doing, because that's just the fabric of who I am, and that's how I want to be embedded in my community, right? That's how deep you want to make that. All right, so I can go in a little bit of detail. I got off topic in the last slide, but so show, don't tell, right? Avoid writing the elongated resume stuff. I don't need to know the job titles that you had or the descriptions of work duties that you were doing. I want to know what was significant about that experience, right? Whether you were making shakes at Jamba Juice, or you were working as a scribe, or you were volunteering in a dental clinic, whatever it was. Why is it meaningful, right? Again, the use of I is not so much this idea of like it's not a first person. How do you make a personal statement without being a first person? You can use first person, but use the personal pronouns so that way it gives more of a personal statement rather than you're just talking at the reader, right? I know I'm going to keep bringing this point home. I want to know things that I wouldn't get from reading your resume. If it's in your resume and it's in your list of activities, then it's already there. They're going to read it. I want to know more about the significance of what you're trying to tell me. All right, how they impacted you, how you felt about them, why it's significant. Don't tell me what we had. So these last two are kind of repetitive, but it's the same key point. Why is this important enough to why is whatever you might have put in the statement, why is this important enough to tell me? What's its significance? All right, so now move on to motivation for becoming a healthcare provider. So a lot of times in the way when we review personal statements, in the first paragraph, I want to know what are you writing for? What is the point of the statement? I want to know why you want to be a dentist. If it's because it's something you always want to do, or if it's a defining moment, whatever the case. Anecdote to that main point, why do you want to be a dentist? This is also an opportunity for you to begin dealing with the question, because you're going to get it a lot. In the interview, in the secondaries, and first times first is a personal statement. Or maybe that's even the question to get into this organization, why do you want to be a dentist? But it's a time for you to really start critically thinking about, why did you choose this path? Be purposeful in your assessments, rather than, well, seems cool. It's not as intense as medical school, and the pay is just as good. No, like that. They don't want to know that. I mean, if that's the truth, okay, well, just don't tell me that, because that's going to hurt my feelings. I want to know that you really want to be a dentist. You know what I mean? So really take time to think about that. Again, going back to this idea of like journaling and taking notes on your past experiences from the clubs you've been a part of, the organizations you've been a part of, the volunteering experiences, and really having those solid reflections. What have you observed? What have you gained from being shadowing in a couple clinics? For some people, their shadowing experience is horrible and they hated it, but it only made them want to be a dentist more, because they didn't want other people to have to continue having that same experience. They wanted to be that catalyst for change, for a different experience, right? And then you have some people that, it's this most amazing and considerate experience that they've seen. Like, they've never seen a dentist that put Vaseline on patients' lips when they're, because they had their mouths open for so long, and it's just a complete different experience for the patient. It's all about their comfort, so their lips aren't cracking while they're working on their teeth. All right, that was actually an example from someone's personal statement I read recently in the last 2 weeks. Okay, so showcasing how you took initiative. Now, to me, that's what leadership is. Leadership isn't a title. It isn't an e-board appointment. It isn't being this person that stands in front of a podium and rallies the troops. I mean, it can be, yes, but I want to know that you're passionate about something, right? I want you to show me how you take an initiative. If you cared about some type of cause, or if you cared about anything, and you wanted to get involved, you took the steps to make that happen. You invested yourself in that experience wholly and fully. So what did you get out of it? What was the motivating factor? What was the driving factor? And taking that and getting those transferable skills from that, that's what you're going to apply to, like, why you want to be a dentist. And it also gives you a nice little reference point. You tell me that you're passionate about dentistry. Okay, what does that really mean? Can you showcase it? Maybe, maybe not. But you also did, you grew this organization to become this whole self-sustaining entity on campus, right? This is what it looks like when I'm passionate about something, when I've committed the last 4 years to this organization, and this is what I cared about, and this is what I helped it become from small, humble beginnings to this large, powerhouse on campus. This is an example of what it's like when I'm passionate about something. So having that reference point of being passionate about something, if this is what it looks like for you to be involved and to be committed, then I know when you say you're passionate about dentistry, this is what I can expect from you. Does that make sense? Yeah? All right, cool. I just wanted a little crowd participation. So there is this, I'll show you guys the link, and I'll show you where you can get this book, but we recently came across the National Academic Advisors for Health Professions organization that I'm a part of. They recently put out a publication on the personal statement. And within that publication, they address certain attributes, is the word that they use, for what you want to showcase, right? And it's the most popular ones that I picked, the ones that I think are the most important, but they have a really long list, and it wasn't going to fit in an entire slide. But what I liked about it is that it tells you, some key things where, yeah, you could use these buzzwords, but what's more important is how you show these particular things, right? How do you show these attributes? And that goes into this whole idea of show, not tell. Don't tell me that you're a leader. Don't tell me that you're determined. Don't tell me that you're resilient. Don't tell me that you're committed. Show me examples of how you've been that or displayed those things. Don't tell me that you know how to do something. Show me how you've actually utilized those skills, right? Being realistic and have a realistic self-assessment, and acknowledge your limitations, right? Being resourceful, know when to ask for help, being accountable. If you messed up, or if you might have had a bad semester, yeah, I messed up. I got a C- in Bio 220, but I knew that was a problem. I addressed it. I went to tutoring or whatever you had to do to make sure when you got to 320, you were at the top of the class, right? Ideally, that's what happened. But that's what you want to show. These are how you showcase these things, right? You can kind of read through them. I don't want to just read at you these particular things, but this is I feel the greatest example of what it means to show me what something means rather than just tell me what it means. All right. So this last piece to me is key, and even when it's more than just one paragraph, it's really how you approach your cycle, right? That's how you approach your application cycle. It's how prepared do you feel going into the cycle? Do you feel confident in what you're presenting? Are you putting your best foot forward? Yeah, you might be absolutely ready, but we know that there's limited seating compared to how many people are applying. So it could be pessimistic, sure, but it's more of erring on the side of caution. Is when you go into the cycle, when you click submit, you also got to ask yourself, where are your weak points, right? Where's room for improvement? How could you be continuing to grow and continuing to be better? Because what if you don't get in, right? You're just going to reapply with the same application. It's going to give you the same results. So while you're in the application cycle, thinking about what you need to improve upon or how you want to continue to grow, that's what you need to be doing while you're in the cycle. So if in the off chance that you may not get in the first time, you've made significant improvement over that year of the cycle, right? And so when you make that assessment of your preparedness and readiness, it can be very telling. You might be at this personal statement ready to click submit, and then you realize, you know what? I don't think I'm ready. I'm not ready to commit to this path or to commit to this career. Maybe I need a year to travel abroad, or maybe there's other things I want to do before I commit to like, you know what, I'm ready. I feel 100% confident in the preparation that I've had and the experiences that I've had that have brought me to this point of readiness. And today is the day that I'm ready to commit to my life as becoming a future healthcare professional. It's a great way to end it. So powerful, you know. So, pitfalls. This, excuse me. Oh my gosh. Give me a second, guys. So with the pitfalls of writing the personal statement, it happens a lot, and it's going to be all over your first, second, third drafts, and it's okay. That's what we're here for. That's what we help you kind of, clean up. But some of the things that make a personal statement weak, I would say, starting off with there's no life in the personal statement. There's no you. You're not showcasing yourself enough, and that's one thing I see a lot. Is you talk about all these great activities or great opportunities, but you don't tell me about what they mean to you. You don't reveal anything about yourself. There's no vulnerability in it, right? We go back to being resilient, accepting disappointment and moving on. Understanding what these moments are and how they've impacted you, how they shaped who you are. And it's okay to talk about that. If you get a little too personal, I'll let you know, and we can scale it back. But I'd rather err on the side of caution. Share with us. Let them know about who you are and why you're applying to their medical school. The other one is shying away from negativity. Some students can really be hard on themselves in their personal statement, and it's not that it's sad, but it's just like when you're reading it, you're like, man, this is such a downer. Do I really want this person in my class? Like, and that's something you also got to consider. It's do you want to present that side of yourself, right? I talked about earlier about who do you want to display or showcase, or what do you want the reader to take away from reading your personal statement. And when you're negative, it's just not. It just doesn't put you in a good light. Plain and simply. Some of the negative things that I know some students talk about, that goes into like the same sob story, right? I came from a broken home, or I came from, this kind of disadvantaged background. Well, that's okay. That's admirable that happened to you, or that you had to experience that, but you've been able to pull through. Don't get stuck there. There's one point to talk about, what you went through, how it shaped you, and how you're able to turn it around, so to speak, versus you're still just stuck in it and it's a chip on your shoulder and you're not able to move on, right? That's kind of like a red flag. It shows a lack of maturity, and that's what you don't want to show, because you're trying to be a professional. You want to be mature. You want to showcase that you're mature and you can handle this. And then, selecting the right topics for which to talk about. I have a couple examples one example that I brought with me for the before and after, and I think it'll help you see that sometimes it's not always what you were a part of that is as important as what it meant to you and how influential it was for you. I talked about the boasting and the braggadocious, and nobody likes a cocky applicant, straight up and down, right? This isn't an autobiography. This is your personal statement. It's not talking about all your accomplishments and accolades. I can see that in your resume. That's why we want to interview you. But if that's all you can talk about, you can't talk about anything else significant, really. Then it's gonna be a problem. Embellishing the truth. That's always a hard one. Sometimes you have some people that downplay themselves too much, and some people that really play themselves up more than they should. As long as you can back it up, great. But if you can't, you get ready for a really rough interview. Politics. I know there's a lot that happens with healthcare reform. I know there's a lot that happens that affects the healthcare industry. If you were part of a particular movement, or you were out there protesting whatever, fee hikes and whatever else was going on campus when there was protests, and it was a significant experience for you, well, that's great. Talk about it. but you don't want to make your turn your personal statement into this whole, essay of why, minimum wage should be $15. Like that, what does that have to do with your path to dentistry? You know what I mean? And again, that book, Crafting Your Personal Statement, or whatever the book was called, I have the link for it, and I'll show you guys at the end. But having the wrong people read your personal statement can be just as detrimental as, well, it's probably one of the worst things you could do. I don't even know what's comparable to that. Because if you have the wrong people reading your personal statement that don't know what they're looking for or don't know the industry you're trying to get into, they're going to give you incorrect or improper feedback. They might be thoughtful and be helping you with your grammar, or helping you with your syntax, and make sure it all flows, but the content itself may not be all the way there. So you have to make sure to, straight plug, man, come to the pre-health office. We'll read the personal statements for you. We're not going to, sit there and draft it for you. But once you have like a solid draft, bring it in, and we'll go over all of it with you and help you, make sure it gets to that pristine level. All right. So this was an excerpt from a former student of mine, and you guys go ahead and read it, and then we'll talk about it. So I'll give you guys 30 seconds. All right. So who wants to point out a couple positives about this excerpt? It's okay. There's no wrong answer.
I suppose he highlights that he wants to, be hands-on in his profession.
Okay.
It's really unique approach, building something and then.
It's a good way to put it. Yes. Absolutely. Oh yes.
I mean, it seems like he's pretty passionate about that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah. There's definitely passion. You feel that. Like you really enjoyed it, right? It was a defining moment, right? So, what's missing from this excerpt? What do you guys feel could have made it better?
There's a lot of jobs that can use your hands.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Did you have something?
I feel like it was really telling, like it describes the shelves and lights, and it was sturdy. It's not important. It was probably about him.
Very good. What else we got? Oh yeah.
I feel like it needs to be a little bit more organic. Like
Oh.
it feels a little bit forced.
Cool. All right. So now you guys want to see what the after looked like? This was after we applied the principles of what we talked about today. We made it more personal, made it relevant, and brought out more of him in it. Right. This is what it looked like. So you thought I was going to take out the bar part, right? I kind of liked it. But I liked it so much because he was so excited about it when he wrote about it. But you see how it's so much more self-reflective. He ties it into like why he wants to bring it from just working with your hands to a career in dentistry, right? It's not entirely just random, and it just feels more personal, doesn't it? Yes, you agree? No, you don't have to agree. It's just fine. Some of the stuff is relative, but and that's just, it's all in how you present the information. It's all in how you word it. It's all in how you phrase it. I think we still have a lot of I's in here that I didn't like, but, you know, we wanted him to apply early in the cycle. So we didn't get to really fully, because off the bat, I think I see like 6 of them, and I hate seeing I's in personal statements. Alright, so, I put these in here because these are 2 great publications for personal statements. And I'm assuming I'm leaving the personal statement, this whole presentation for you guys. That way you guys can access it and, you know, click the links and download. The bottom one from Ohio, it's a free one. The one on the NAAHP, that one I think costs money. But this one from Ohio Wesleyan, it's a 70-page PDF, quite extensive. It's a great resource. And again, man, like, we're here for you. The pre-health office is available. You can email us. I forgot my cards again, like I did last time. I'm the worst with giving you my contact info, but I'm really easy to find. You know, you come to the pre-health office. Everybody know where we are in Headco, Neuroscience Building, room 120. And I think that's it for what I got, guys. So.
You guys have any questions for them? That would probably be the time.
How far in advance would you recommend starting to write, or starting the process?
That's a great question, and I can't believe I missed that in the PowerPoint. So I would say you need to have a working personal statement. It doesn't have to be a final draft of the perfect draft. You can have I's all over the place in the working draft, but you want to have something in hand when you're requesting your letter of recommendation. So when you get something to your letter writers, you want to have like a working resume and a working personal statement. Final drafts aren't as important. They just need to have something to pull from to know why you're doing this and why you want to go to dental school. Does that make sense? So I guess if we're talking, you know, your application is in late May, June. You want to have something ready like in February to give your, or well, I guess April to give your letter writer.
Any other questions?
All right.
Any other questions? All right, cool. Thank you. Like you said, the PowerPoint will be available on our website if you guys need it, as well as his contact information. So, yeah, you should really go see him. He's helped a lot of DDSers get into dental school. So, sweet. So, guys. No, that was my question.